are you? December is here and we are enjoying it. Thank you for joining us. This is Being 40. Guys, today I'm not in my best of moods. You know why? Because we've been talking about COVID-19. The whole world has been talking about COVID-19. I remember when Ebola, there was a breakout and, you know, we had to travel with our yellow fevers. You couldn't access Europe, US or UK. Well, now with COVID, I don't know if all of us now needs to have a COVID fever or whatever it is. This pandemic does not know boundaries. But why am I not happy today? It's because we forgot about HIV and AIDS, right? We forgot. Everybody moved to sanitization. Everybody moved to putting on masks. Everybody moved to social distancing. But the question here is, we seem not to be social distancing when it comes to HIV and AIDS. And that's why today I'm not so happy, guys. I'm not happy. So this is Being 40. Venus Chengo with myself here. And I'm going to tell Venus why I'm not happy. Venus, I'm not happy.
Baby, you're not. You don't even look happy.
I'm not. See my face, I'm not happy.
What's up?
You know, it's quite interesting. The other day, if you watch news, I don't know how many girls just disappeared.
I think 14?
Yeah.
Or 14.
Just disappeared from nowhere. And they went into this house. They were there for the longest time. Nobody not knowing what they are doing. And the first thing people would think about when they saw them was, and even they're not social distancing, you know, where they are, these are how COVID is spreading. But guys are not talking about HIV AIDS. 33% of the population presently, of all AIDS cases,
The
new cases are teenagers. That means for every 10 people, 3 are teenagers, and mainly girls. Now imagine 13 years, and not even up to 19, it's up to 17. I mean, that's worrying. And I don't know if there's a parenting element here. I don't know if there's something around gender violence here. I don't know if there's just something about, you know, COVID also brought some of these negative things. And you see, I always say, with kids being at home and doing online classes, you're forced to be a headmaster, a disciplinary, a class teacher, and a parent. So there are times lazima ujitake a meeting because you present all those people. But I don't think, as parents also, we took up that mantle and called ourselves in a meeting and said, I'm the head teacher, I'm the class teacher, I'm the disciplinary teacher, I'm the English teacher, I'm the maths teacher, and I'm the parent, and I need to talk to my daughter. I think the ball was dropped somewhere because the way this behavior is happening, and it's worrying. Nobody's talking about HIV/AIDS. No one at all.
I think the last time I had a talk with young people, let me not say teenagers.
Yeah, because you do a number of these talk shows. Yeah.
Unfortunately, when we're doing the statistics and the questionnaires, in one of the questions we asked, would you rather get HIV or would you rather, get pregnant?
Yeah.
And most of them were like, I'd rather get HIV. No, I'd rather get pregnant than get HIV. Huh? I'd rather get HIV than get pregnant. Yeah. As in, people are willing to sacrifice their lives, for the fun of it. And when you look at what is happening currently in today's world, and looking at the very recent case that we had about girls who ran away from home, they disappeared.
Correct.
Of course, we went into panic, and people were sharing videos about, and eventually they were found somewhere having fun. Then that shows there are a lot of things that are involved, and the question is, it all boils down to, are we parenting our teenagers well?
Correct.
One of the things that I'm very, very big about, Frank, when I'm talking to parents of teenagers, is modeling.
Yeah.
Let me tell you.
Tell me.
How you treat your wife right now will affect your sons.
Because they can see.
Okay? Without knowing, there's someone out there who's always watching.
Correct.
So if you're the kind of man who has physical, psychological, emotional abuse going on in your family, day by day, your sons are picking it up from you.
Correct.
And they're going to end up doing this very same thing to their own wives.
Correct.
Okay, that is number one. So without knowing, we as parents are modeling certain things to our children. Now, when you take your children, on an outing and you order for your whiskey, I'm not saying that it is wrong to take alcohol.
Yeah.
But I think we also need to know that some of this visual impact that, we superimpose on our children are the same things that are destroying our children. If you want to have your drink, have it, but away from your children. Because your son will ask, this thing that my dad takes looks like he's always happy.
It's a nice thing.
Yes. So it must be a cool thing. So when you're away, he's going to take it. And what happens? The side effects follow. He'll get high. He will look for a woman. Remember, he's a teenager. His testosterone levels are very high.
Correct.
Okay? So at the end of the day, these are some of the causes of these teenage pregnancies.
Yeah.
But the most and one thing that we don't normally like talking about has to do with genetics. Frank, when akujua, ulikuwa Casanova. I was in school with you. Yes. Up to the, yes. Sasa, ukiona mtoto pale ni Casanova, please go back. Do your 10 backwards and think where were you when you were in your early teen whatever age.
What does Casanova mean? Bado nimekwama hapo kwa Casanova.
I mean, unajua what I mean. Let me not just break it down that because utaanza kunifuria. But if truly you are this, very dysfunctional teenagers,
yes,
and you're seeing your child, your teen, exhibiting the same behaviors, please remember they came from you.
It's somewhere.
Yes. The genogram, as I always like to say, plays a very, very important role in our children. Sometimes we like to point fingers and we forget we walked that road before them. So understanding where you came from, understanding who you are will also help you bring your son, your daughter, who's a teenager, in a very conscious way. Because you have been there and you know the kind of behavioral patterns that are in your family.
So when we are talking about HIV AIDS, because everything has been the new normal, everything is COVID-19, COVID-20, it's not going anywhere. And hey, we forgot about AIDS. And now what we are trying to say here is, and it's even going to the teenage and girls mainly. So there's that element of parenting, right? There's element of just rape. There's element to your point where the boy was not raised in a good way. The father was absent. A number of factors would be there. There's a point where there's been so much free space and free time, and it's not being contained or controlled. There's so much access to social media. There's so much access to TV, you name it, and nobody's controlling. When you saw those girls, and they are confident saying, kwani what's the issue? Tuliboeka tukaenda. And that's what they were saying. Bila permission. What does that tell you about the society? We got so much engrossed in COVID, and we forgot there was another pandemic, HIV, AIDS. And I really think this narrative, people need to start talking about it.
Very true.
Now more than ever, because remember when kids will go to school, they are contained in school if it's boarding. When they leave boarding, they come back home with certain values. Wamechapwa na walimu or whatever it is. They come home, something happens. But now these guys have free flow. I am home. And sometimes when they're home, parents are not there throughout. Parents are focusing on the other things.
True.
This one is working, this one is doing that. Nobody is taking care of the kids. It's an assumption they should. I think that gap during COVID, the whole year, parents, guardians, the society, whoever society is, all those people in campus society, we dropped the ball somewhere. And that's why you see it's affecting the teenage girls.
And talking about the COVID break and the fact that we were there as parents, I think two things that we really missed on. I personally feel we missed out on the psychoeducation bit of it, where you basically talk about these things. What is sexuality? What are, the consequences of early, sexual or promiscuous behavior? You understand?
Yeah.
Then we also missed out on talking about peer pressure. And I think there's an episode we did about peer pressure.
Yeah.
Oh yes, when we were invited to talk to one of those, was it through Singer School? And we're talking about technology, and I brought in the issue
entrepreneurship
of peer pressure on our teenagers when it comes to social media.
Correct.
So now, there was that story about someone luring another, a teenager.
Correct.
And basically getting into their system, convincing them that, there was need for them to meet. And that's how these teenagers ended up disappearing. So the issue of, now you see where my point is coming from, social media platforms, I think, if you ask me as a psychologist, I think the kind of addiction that we have in our teenagers today is breeding a lot of dysfunctionality in our teenagers. And that includes also contributing to the high rates of HIV infection in our young teenage girls today. And speaking about it, Frank, as I said, when we're talking about the social media platforms, you remember I talked about the negative effects that it has on our children, and there's this hashtag that has been going on, Orange Your World, and another one, I think, is it 16 something, I can't remember, but something 16 days of activism. So what has been happening is part of the reasons why we are having young girls getting pregnant is there's a lot of rape going on.
Correct.
And all these things come from that social media platform, whereby these teens are getting addicted to phones. Going by that, they're addicted to masturbation. Okay, they're easily lured by strangers because, hey, you just go on your social media platform, you befriend people, you get followers, and you start engaging.
Correct.
Okay? So those are some of the things that I feel we need to change and really put, measures as parents.
So are you saying that we should not allow our teenagers access to social media platforms?
No, that's not what I say.
Yeah.
I think what I mean is we need to monitor and also have open discussion, psychoeducation.
Yeah.
These are the consequences, okay? Because we're not going to be there 24 hours checking on their phones.
But do you think parents really monitor? It's a conversation of just saying, okay, I'm seeing this on TikTok, I'm seeing this on Instagram, and do we really go to pick the kids' phones and monitor this is what
apps? Like for what I have with my kids basically is my husband has managed to connect. I don't know, there's a way his phone is connected to their phones. Okay. So he's given them time, there's a time limit. So if you've been given 2 hours on social media, by the time that the 120th minute is over, it locks you out. Okay, so you cannot access social media platforms until the next day. Okay? Then he can also check out their history. Whether they delete or not, he's able to access the history.
To check.
And you see, when we're doing this, it's a very intentional move.
Correct.
Okay? Because at the end of the day, we are paying school fees, we're trying to really bring out these young people in the best way possible.
Correct.
And then we ignore the very small things. Okay? There's a professor I was listening to the other day, and he was saying, be considerate about the little things in life. Okay? When you see your child is locking himself too much in the bedroom, consider that. Ask yourself questions. One, find out, why is he or she very interested in being in this space alone? Why are they really, becoming loners?
Correct.
So when it comes to this HIV thing, I think it just doesn't stand on its own. There's so many other things that contribute to what we are seeing currently. And it's a very sad state of affair. Of course, we say that, the world has evolved and there's no more stigmatization when it comes to HIV. But at the end of the day, it doesn't give us that platform where we expose our teenagers or allow our teenagers to expose themselves just because they can live on ARVs.
Correct.
Okay? It's not easy, by the way. Even I'm just trying to imagine a young teen who walks into the hospital for antenatal care, and they end up being, testing positive for HIV. At their young stage, they may not be able to cope psychologically with those things, you see. And that also contributes to the high rate of suicide cases that we are seeing in teenagers. Okay? So at the end of the day, I think this is a call to action on every parent out there who's listening to me. Anyone who's out there, if you're a parent and you're listening to me, and a parent specifically of a teenager, we need to do this together. Okay? I cannot, of course, Rome was not changed in a day, and I cannot do this on my own. We have to parent our teenagers as a community, and it takes you first starting with your own children and then extending to your neighbor, okay? Because today I may be very, very cautious about my child, but the next door neighbor will end up, influencing my child in the, wrong way, and we end up losing both kids. So at the end of the day, it takes you and I, let us work on all these structures, all these systems that are bringing our children down. Personally, I'm not saying that my right is the only right, as Frank says it, yes? But again, I will borrow a leaf from you. The 10-10-10 rule, I love it and I've adapted to it. In the next 10 minutes, if your teenager is, going through his phone or her phone and he manages to get through a pornography video, what is the effect after that? In the next 10 days, okay, he will go and rape a young girl, okay? In the next 10 weeks, that girl will be pregnant. And in the next 10 months, we'll have a child, okay? A child who's being parented by a teenager. And in the next 10 years, we may be having a conflict between a child and their parents. Because the questions being asked will be like, if you got pregnant at this age, why are you telling me what to do? Okay? Of course, there's things we can't really prevent. But at the end of the day, we can build the world that we want tomorrow.
No, I agree. I mean, guys, as you can see me, I was just listening. It's like I was being counseled. It's like I'm in a therapy session or, something like that. But I think for me, what I would just want to add to that is currently the data we have is on girls because they are going for antenatal.
Yes.
Yeah. And then in the process of that, they discover their HIV status and it happens to be positive. The question is, we are talking about 33%. And these are the ones who've walked in there, not knowing they have it. What about the ones who have infected them, who have not had a chance to go in? Guys, what you're saying is that 33% might be more. We are focusing so much on COVID, and I'm not saying we should not.
Exactly.
But hey, what is happening on the side? Did we drop the ball somewhere? Is there something that we need to tighten? Is there something that we need to go back and look at? When we talk about society, who is society? It is you and I, and Venus and myself. If we do it in our small groups, then it builds a whole society. So in a nutshell, we've been talking about COVID-19. The whole world has been talking about COVID-19. I'm being told, is this camera okay? So guys, remember, again, our right is not the only right. You have your own formula, like each marriage has its own formula. But HIV is real. It is here. And it's come to the levels of our teenagers are literally getting into ARVs. What are you doing about it as a parent? I mean, there's nothing more I can add to that. With that, is just sit back and say, we are closing the year. You're going into holidays. Have some time with your children, spend some time with them, talk to them, find out what they're doing, be it in social media and all, and just have these conversations, because it starts with us and then we become that society. Right?
True. So I think this is where we go to our segments.
Brutal facts and Mindspa.
Yes. But if you're out there watching us for the first time, please check out our previous videos. Let us know what is your key area of interest. What would you like us to talk about? Because we are here not only to influence, but to also learn from you. Okay? We share notes from a place of experience. But over and above that, even as you like our page, please share the video. Okay? Yes, this is Being 40.
It's Being 40, mode. Of course, she's relaxed.
Looking forward to Christmas.
I think the last thing I wanted to say as we move into Being 40 and Brutal Facts is, for the infected or affected, the teenage girls out there, and for the parents, there's always a second chance to everything. If you're not yet there, please just know you don't need to get there. You don't have to learn from your own experiences. You can learn from other people's experiences, but it doesn't mean it's the end of the world. There's always a second chance.
True.
Somebody once said we serve a God of many chances. So,
amen. Hey Frank, no, you're soon gonna be a pastor.
Brutal facts, Mindspa coming up.
My prayers are working.
We're going to Mindspa.
Hi guys, welcome back. This is a Mindspa Moment where we talk about psychological facts, and we've been talking a lot about COVID-19, the effect it has had, and of course today we've talked about the effects this has had on our young teens. Oh my God, it's so shocking to see that 33% of the teenagers who walk in for antenatal, care and get tested for HIV, 33% actually test positive, and this is very, very alarming. And I feel that we have a lot to contribute as parents. And maybe we talked about the issue of teen pregnancies and the HIV, but what I think we didn't talk is how to, take care of ourselves mentally. For parents who might be in that space whereby either your teen has tested positive for HIV or they have ended up, becoming pregnant. All is not lost. We have people who have gone through that journey and they have managed, to become out successful people in the society. So I feel that what our children need is what I said is psychoeducation. Be open, have open discussions. Social media is feeding our children with a lot of information. So if you don't really have that one-on-one with your child, they will run to that one element in terms of information. So please, parents out there, psychoeducate. They actually know. But when you tell it to them as is, with a lot of care, they're able to see where their choices will take them, okay? And then number 2, if you can, let us help each other. I think social media is a very powerful tool, but in this day and age, they need to, have their laptops and their mobile phones. But at the end of the day, be there, be very intentional, Make sure you know what your child is doing with their phone, if you can. If not, have the apps that can help you put those measures into place. And the third one, let us trust the process and let us be there, as parents, okay? At the end of the day, when you hold your child's hand, in the good and in the bad, I always say, in their later stages, they will say, I had a mom, I had a dad, I had someone, I had that pillar. Okay? You remember at the end of the day, you are their support system. And when you give a child the best support system, you help their mentality. Why? Because they are able to grow up as adults who are not only responsible, but mentally balanced. Okay? Some of us are grown up, but we are still children mentally because we never outgrew some of our behaviors. But when we get good support systems, we are able to have that balance that we require in life. So once again, this is the Mindspa Moment, and you can see my producer is just, yes. I know I've talked a lot, but as you know me, I love talking. So this is the Mindspa Moment, and this is Being 40.
Hey, welcome back. This is Brutal Facts on Being 40 with Frank. Oh, guys, it's real. HIV and AIDS, it's real. We've given you statistics, data, what is happening. When you talk about 33% of any 10 people who are going into, for tests, 3 of them are teenagers. What does that tell you? We have a crisis. As soon as COVID conversations start going down, all of a sudden we are losing our teenagers, we are losing our families. It's not necessarily dying of COVID, probably just something else. This is going to lead to maybe things like depression and a number of other things. So, brutal facts. Guys, what you need to do simply is talk to your children, engage with them, find out what they're doing on social media. During this time where kids are doing online, be a present parent, be a present mother, being a present dad. Ask them what they're looking at in social media, which channels they are going to. If you have a chance, look at the history if possible, like Venus has said. But again, parenting is different, styles are different. It's up to you as a parent to define which one works for you. But remember, as a parent, do your 10-10-10 and ask yourself, what are the effects of my child being in this space? As a parent, you need to ask yourself. You saw teenage girls out there who left home, came back, after 1 week, and they were not bothered at all. They felt like it's all right. You as a teenage girl listening and watching this today, I'm asking you, have you done your 10-10-10 and see where your life is going to be from today? And, looking ahead and coming back, it's up to you. At the end of the day, life has choices. It's up to you to make the choice of where you want to be. Thank you very much. It's a sad state of affairs, guys. Trust you me. HIV/AIDS is real. We focus on COVID, but remember, HIV/AIDS is real. Brutal facts. Go get tested for HIV/AIDS, not just COVID-19. Thank you very much. Thank you for tuning in. It's all about Being 40, Brutal Facts with Frank. Asante sana. All right, guys. Once again, thank you very much for being with us for the last 10 or so 15 minutes. And as we close this episode, we really don't want to stress on COVID because we said it's a new normal. But I want to remind you, HIV/AIDS is here with us, right? It is here with us. Guys, the same way we are running to get tested for COVID, please remember to get tested for HIV/AIDS as well. The earlier you get tested and you know your status, you're in a better position. Probably by the time it's HIV, by the time you get to the AIDS part, you never know, all right? And like I said, if you already made the mistake, guys, we serve a God of 1,000 chances.
Amen.
It's up to you to sit back, look at yourself, and say, hey, I made a mistake. It doesn't define me as a person. It was just that specific things, and you move on. Go get tested for HIV as you get tested for COVID-19. Thank you very much.